On this episode of Modbox, I'm going to be rebuilding the Subaru rear differential. So this here is a Subaru R160 rear differential that was originally from a 2005 Subaru Legacy with a 6-speed. Super easy and affordable way to get a 6-speed into an Impreza, as opposed to going to an STI box which cost several $1,000s more. I put it into a GG Impreza called Sonic, as you probably know was burned out in a shed fire a couple of months ago. Before that car went off the scrap, we pulled the whole entire driveline out, and what was savable we kept. It's just an R160, there's nothing too special about it, as opposed to like an R180 which is physically a lot bigger. Current status of this is that it's been burned out. At the moment it's completely locked up. What I'm going to be doing today is pulling this whole entire lot apart, cleaning everything up, and then replacing everything like bearings, seals, and O-rings. And lastly, I'll give the housing a really good paint job, make it all look nice and brand new again so it looks good when it goes back inside the car. Bone dry. Definitely a bit crusty in there. Is it seal? Or what's left of it? Why I couldn't rotate it, because that there is completely cooked. Now the most important part of a differential is the center itself. This is the original one from the R160. So this is called a VLSD, which stands for viscous limited slip. It's nothing special. So while this is all apart, I'm going to put something better in. Now this here is a short track LSD, and this is originally from a version 7 WRX. They're cheap, they're easy to find, and they're a direct fit for what this is. Same axles, so it's going to go straight inside. I'm not going to have any worries with stuff not fitting properly. Inside a Subaru diff, there is like spaces and little adjusting washers like this, which controls your preload. The one that originally came out of this diff is a little bit too tight, so I've had to change obviously bearings, and I've changed the sleeve out and the diff flange as well because they weren't in too good of a shape. What I've done is I've got the micrometer out and I've actually measured the original washer size versus the one that was in the donor diff, and they are actually different numbers. So I've had to go to Subaru and get a couple of little shims just to give me some options to help try and set that. The shims go in between this little sleeve here and the other bearing which sits opposite this one here. So when you put the nut on, the flange on, and tighten this up to torque spec, it pulls these into each other and that creates your bearing preload. It's quite fiddly this. I'm going to try out with a shim that is the same as what the donor diff would have had, and I've got one size there bigger, so if it's a bit too much preload I can put the next size in, which will back it off a little bit, and hopefully either one of those will be enough to make all this work. 181 Newton meters. It needs to move in between the 1 and the 2. So let's see. Bang on. And here we go, the diff is finally all rebuilt, and honestly, it looks really, really good. With the fresh paint, the blasted housings, and the new bolts, it just looks like a brand new diff, and hopefully it should go like a brand new diff too. I'm going to be quite keen to see how that new centre is going to go on the track, so can't wait for that. But without further ado, let's get it inside the car. And there's that old adage in life that if you're going to go through all the effort to pull this apart, you may as well put an SDI part in. Dirty old shitness. So if you got to this part of the video, guess what? It's story time with Maddie. Back when we built the original Sonic back in 2018, I manual converted it with a WRX 5-speed. We had to change the rear diff out as you do with Subarus, and was tasked with changing the rear diff because I was doing the gearbox with Gary. Gearbox and everything all went in sweet, and drove it around, but it always had a really weird rattle in reverse, and I did a bit of Googling, and people always said, oh,
It's just a thing with tight LECs they can do. They can make a bit of noise when they're in reverse because it's just the way they are. So I didn't think too much more of it. I wasn't too fussed about it. Anyway, so sold that car and then eventually bought it back again, and it was still making the noise, and it had actually failed a waff on it. And so I told the guy, I said, oh no, it's just a reed, it's already got a really tight LED, so it just rattles. And he's like, oh yeah, it's all good, and the mechanic seemed to think it was alright. So got the car back again and then put it back on Gary's hoist, and I was having a bit of a poke around. And I noticed that these two studs at the back of the diff here weren't done up. And so I went back to my photos of that night, which I'm going to put one over the video. And lo and behold, they were never done up. Certain someone who was tasked with putting that in did it on the floor and forgot to do them up all the way when it was in the car. So I ended up driving it around for all that time with the rear diff shaking around because it wasn't done up properly, and that was the cause of the rattle. So while it was on Gary's hoist there, I just tightened up the rear studs, backed it out of the shed, boom, and away it was gone, and it never came back again. So that was funny. So always tighten up your rear studs, because otherwise they'll make a hell of a noise. So we're going to tighten these ones up now to make sure that they're not going to make any noise. And if the rear diff does make any noise, we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.